Yeah, what a dang dizzly doo-wop. I am Zachary D, the Palsy Papa, and this is Palsy Papa Presents 9th Grade, you dig. In this video, we're going to set the stage for my high school and talk about a few things that are relevant for the entirety of my high school career. And then later on in the week, probably Friday, you guys will see a video for probably 10th and 11th grade. And then we'll talk about senior year, so on and so forth. But in this video, we're going to talk about 9th grade and set the stage for my high school career. So 9th grade was an interesting thing, as I'm sure it is with most people. It's a bit like 6th grade in the sense of you're starting over. You're small fish, big pond again. You don't have the same status, I guess is a good word. You don't have the same status that you would as an 8th grader in the middle school. You're no longer the big kid on campus, and it's a very, very much a new experience. And we went to block scheduling at some point very early in my high school career. And this meant that I was spending an extra 45 minutes or so in a period than I normally would, because I only had 4 periods per day. And I think it was math that we had every day. So you had 2 blocks of math, and then you rotated out some other stuff. I started taking Spanish in high school. I never really got fluent, but I can certainly understand more Spanish than I can speak. But and this is important because a lot of my early high school career, at least, was purely academic focused, and I was like, well, it's time to buckle down. Got to get ready for that sweet, sweet college. Got to do the college thing. Started taking AP courses, which, for those of you who don't know, AP courses here in the States are a thing that you can do to get dual college credit. And that is important. If you want to go to college, you can get a lot of your basic credit out of the way before you ever leave high school. There's a separate video in and of itself about whether I think that college is necessary and whether I think that it's good advice that everybody should quote unquote go to college. But to set the stage for what high school looked like, I had a really memorable English teacher, Miss Real, and I sort of alluded to her last video, and she kind of sparked my love again for writing and kind of kept me fueled as a writer, because we had to write a lot in AP English. And that's important because I was able to write in such a way that the reading assignments that we got, I still passed without having read most, if not all, of the material. There are a few of those high school books that I read and really enjoyed. The Great Gatsby is one of my favorites. Animal Farm was awesome. But other than that, I pretty much did not read any of my high school reading assignments. Socially, I was in an interesting position because of my getting invited to the high school football games in middle school. I knew a lot of the upperclassmen. I knew a lot of the players on the football team. I knew some basketball players. And generally speaking, everybody liked me. This was sort of the period where there were a couple of clowns, I guess, class clown types, and I haven't really talked to them since to find out their motivation. But as a high schooler, they would pick on me, and it started out kind of lighthearted, like, oh, I'm just gonna rib on him and he'll give it back a little bit, and then it stopped. It stopped. It stopped being lighthearted and started to be a little bit malicious. Now, I didn't let it bother me too terribly much, but there's one incident in particular where I remember this kid was sitting in front of me. Shout out Jared. This kid was sitting in front of me, and he kept putting his arm back like at me on my desk, right? He kept like jabbing me in the chest. And I said, listen, bro, you keep doing that, I'm gonna stab you in the arm with this pencil. Fact. And he said, whatever, no, you won't, something to that effect, and kept doing it. And so I got him. And that was the end of hearing from him, because I don't know why he decided that was the turning point. Maybe he saw that I would defend myself, at least in the way that I was capable. But I never got into an out-and-out fight. There's a couple of stories from later in my high school career that would have been almost fights. There were a couple of opportunities where I started to like white knight. But early on, I was just trying to get a feel again for what's going on and get to know some new people, because you're changing periods again. You're starting to understand a little bit about girls. You're starting to get interested in that. And I think 9th grade is when I really started to realize that, oh, you're probably not going to date in high school. That's not an option for you. And this translated much later into, oh, you're probably not getting married. Like, this is not a thing that I thought was going to be a possibility for me at all. Obviously, you guys know me, know that I am married, have 2 kids with one on the way. So that changed at some point, and we'll talk about that. And I also talked about how I met my wife on another video on the channel if you want to go check that out. So, why is this all relevant? I'm trying to set an atmosphere for the rest of what's going on. Now, I was still hanging out with Matt and Aaron Um, I'm actually in an interesting situation where I think like it was early, early 10th grade, maybe late ninth grade, that Aaron dropped out. And then he went to college. At like 16, he was in um, college courses. And next video, we're going to talk about me starting driving. Oh boy, howdy, was that ridiculous. But ninth grade was pretty much a continuation of the eighth grade year. We're still hanging out with Aaron. We're still doing a thing. And then we kind of start to build some things. We had started building websites and started having business ideas, and we were nerds, and we kind of thought that we were gonna make this next big thing, and we'd spend a lot of weekends working on those projects, and they never really got off the ground because what nobody tells you is that any good project that sees the light of day needs a budget of both time and a little bit of money to get going. So none of those saw the light of day, but we had fun kind of working on them, and it was a big deal. But I became keenly aware, probably about midway through my ninth grade year, that I wasn't going to go to high school and I wanted to go into radio. I was listening to a lot of Kid Craddock in the morning, a local morning DJ here in Dallas, as well as a lot of Russ Martin in the afternoon, a local talk jock here in Dallas at the time. And I saw what they were doing, and I wanted in. I wanted in the radio club, and that is pretty much where my focus went, like career-wise, from jump. I pretty much knew I wasn't going to go to college, and I set up a situation where I definitely definitely didn't want the college experience. I didn't see a point in going to college. Getting a broadcasting degree just didn't make any sense to me. Everybody that I knew from listening to the radio did not have a broadcasting degree. And I was pretty sure I could find a break at some point into the industry. So I started to focus on that in the best way that I could by listening to as much different radio as I could, trying to understand what it was they were doing and how things worked and everything like that. And I will say that taking the AP classes because of that was probably my biggest regret. I took a heavier class load than I was prepared at all to take. And to be frank, my grades just bombed because I wasn't focused on school. So about once every 3 weeks, I was grounded because my progress reports were garbage. So I didn't have much of a social life. And at this point, both my surgeries were done, and I got to once again experience a fairly normal high school experience, except for My mom and dad's occupation as both a policeman for my stepdad and working for the school for my mom definitely led to me not doing as much like social activities as you might expect. Because it was around this age that folks really started like partying, drinking, doing their thing. And I literally never did. Looking back, you could say that I was a good kid. In that sense, my mouth got me in more trouble at home than I would get in than I would get into for being bad or doing the bad things. And it's just a very normal baseline for the high school experience. I'm trying to see if there's one or two stories that I'm leaving out, but I really, honest to goodness, I don't think there is. I don't think there's really much to be said for that type of, much more to be said. I think that my biggest takeaway from ninth grade is that life is kind of about starting over. Life is a lot about being able to take what you learned in the previous phase of your life, starting new, and trying to get to higher places. I was writing more raps at this time. I really was confident in who I was by that time. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I'm functionally a lot different now than I was in high school. Of course you are. You're going to learn from life experience, and life experience kind of helped me refine where my weaknesses were. But I was very, very confident in who I was and what I was doing by the end of my ninth grade year. I was still doing the water boy thing, and there were a couple of they had me doing like a little bit of light equipment repair, and I wasn't very manually dexterous, so that didn't happen a whole bunch. But I got to still do my thing with the football team. I got really involved in basketball as well in the high school. And I love basketball. I don't watch it as much as I would like, I guess. I don't know. But out of all the ball sports, I love basketball the most. It's very fun, and if I could play, I definitely would do that. So where do I want to wrap this up? I want to wrap this up by saying that these next two videos are probably where things start to get weird a little bit. But as a baseline, I definitely thought that my high school was going to be pretty plain by the end of ninth grade. I was pretty sure that I was going to have an average like loner-esque experience, and that I was just going to start my life and move forward from there. But 10th and 11th grade proved that all wrong. All of it was very, very wrong, very, very quickly. I did not have an average end to my high school career at all. Definitely appreciate you guys for watching. I know this video probably wasn't the most entertaining, but that's what you have to understand. Ninth grade wasn't that particularly that entertaining. I'm trying to think where I cut these videos short when they start to get a little bit long-winded, and I don't want to do a whole lot of 40-minute content vids anymore. If you guys want the longer form content, please let me know. I'm happy to ramble, but I hope you guys are enjoying it. As always, lick that like button, scribble that subscribe button, commentate on the video, and tickle that notification pickle. And shout out to the couple of new subscribers I picked up. I appreciate you guys. Hope you're rocking with the channel. I am Zachary D, the Palsy Papa. And as always, don't be tripping, because I'm still crippin'. See you guys tomorrow.